You don't think we need intro music for this live stream?
No, I think we are. I think we're good how we are. To be real with you.
We should test the audio because I just realized I didn't never test the audio. And I just said didn't never, which is a double negative, which means I did test the
I
audio.
ain't didn't never test
No audio.
no audio.
Welcome. Toil, bubble in trouble. Welcome, Gridwisers. What the hell am I talking about? How do I share this link? You would think I've done this a bunch of times. You would think.
I don't know if we think that big.
Jose Huezo, what's up, dude? With the 2 thumbs ups. Welcome to the stream, my man. We are live with Brandon and Jay to answer all of your questions about Gridwise, about rideshare. Let's share this.
Are we actually live right now?
We are actually live right now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
Yes, sirree. Brandon, so why are you annoyed? Let's continue the conversation.
I'm annoyed because my dog has an ear infection, and I know it's an ear infection, but the vet wants us to go in to tell us that it's an ear infection so they can tell us what medicine they give him.
And it costs you.
And it's going to be $100 for them to tell me what I already know.
That it's an ear infection and you got to get medicine for it, right?
That it's an ear infection and I need medicine for it, yeah.
That is just like a shame. I feel like that's how I feel about car insurance.
You feel
deductibles.
I do not see the connection there. You want, I mean, because the car insurance generally doesn't tell you about your dog's ear infection.
I meant like the $100 just to get that, just to give someone money for no reason at all.
Yeah,
you know, that's what I feel like. What you drinking there?
Oh, Alarmist Brewing. I think this is a Chicago based brewery. But yeah, Alarmist Brewing, New England style Indian Pale Ale.
New England style India Pale Ale.
Le Juice.
So it's nice and juicy.
It's like one of those hazy IPAs. It's like very citrusy. It tastes like this can looks, I would say.
Very orange. Hey, Jose on our chat has something to say to you, Brandon. He says, "Good to see you, Brandon."
Good to see you, Jose.
Jose, are you a longtime Gridwise subscriber? Please let us know.
He's maybe not. What are we talking about here? I think we're talking about.
Dude, we got a bunch of cool topics today.
Uber earnings, Lyft earnings, like reports and things like that. They were kind of
everything.
Really, like a lot of like overall just Uber news hit yesterday. Uber and Lyft, rideshare just in general news came down yesterday, which I feel like is pretty interesting.
I'm testing audio here. Sorry.
Okay. Well, all right. I'll just rant till Jay gets his shit together here. But
oh, we are loud. I just turned my audio on. It was like, I'm testing audio. It's so freaking loud.
No.
Oh, what do you mean? Yo, Jose says yes, he is a Gridwise user. Well, hey, Jose, thank you for being a awesome Gridwise user, and I hope you enjoy. Do you enjoy our regular podcasts?
I think you guys help us a lot, so thank you to both of you. Of course, we try, and the whole team tries. Lots of folks in the product and engineering side of things that are kind of tinkering, putting stuff together. So,
Jose, have you ever written a support ticket in the app or contacted us through email? It's so cool. Isn't live streaming cool? Or interacting with our users live? Jose says, I sure do. Always gives you them thumbs up. Yeah, that's what we need. A thumbs up. Big fat thumbs. If you got 1, if you got 2, if you got 3 or 4 thumbs, give us all of your thumbs. I did. You guys always responded. Good, because that'll be me that responded to you then. I'm the only person that does that. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Fun fact of the day.
That's the fun fact of the day. So yeah, big kind of overall day of news. Is there a place that you want to start to dive into the discussion, Jay?
Dude, let's talk about Lyft and Uber as public companies report earnings. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, just like an earnings report, obviously, it's just like they're
They
just kind of
have to.
letting they have to report pretty much, what their profit or loss was during the quarter, and Uber and Lyft always lose a shit ton of money.
Shit ton.
So that's not really surprising, especially amid COVID-19. None of that is really surprising or that terribly interesting to drivers.
I would say
Um,
nothing is surprising anymore. You could tell me pigs fly right now, and I'd be like, oh, welcome
yeah,
to 2020.
yeah. I mean, I think in 2020 you definitely have to kind of overall like suspend your disbelief of shit that's happening, right? So really, yeah, you really have
We're
to kind
living
of
in a movie, dude.
suspend your disbelief in
You
it.
really do.
Something happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they lost a lot of money. No huge surprise there.
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 affected how much they lost money. No big surprise there. What was interesting actually was that they have started to see earnings bottom out, right? So they have said, Uber specifically said that they, I believe, bottomed out in terms of the number of rides, like hit the 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 valley. I believe the week of April 12th. Yeah, the week of April 12th. So since then, they've actually been growing. So last week, overall gross bookings for Uber was up. We're up 12%. Now that was from a low valley. Like they were at like 75%, 80% loss of like peak. So they were based on like what was peak in 2019. They were at maybe 20% of that. It might have been year over year, but they were at like
Yeah.
20% of whatever peak that they were going from. And then so they've been growing since April, the week of April 12th, I believe. They've been kind of growing consistently since then. I think they said they're on their way to like the fourth consecutive week of week over week growth. But again, that's from 20%, a 20%
A lot of people don't realize this is that when your revenue is that monstrous, $3.54 billion in revenue. Yeah, you're not making money, but you can always trim the fat, man. And as soon as you trim that fat, boom, all of a sudden overnight you become profitable.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Well, I mean,
So, I mean, revenue is king.
yeah, I mean, from Uber's standpoint, it'll be interesting to see how they, how their expenses kind of fluctuate. Unfortunately, they did just let go of I think 3,700
Mm-hmm.
people on their team, which was mostly customer support,
Mm-hmm.
HR, which means a lot of green light hubs got closed. So
Dude,
what we can
all of
definitely
them.
expect, like, is I think they said 40% of them or something like that across the world, but it might have been across the U.S. I'm not sure. But we can definitely expect support to get that much shittier. So if you thought support was bad before, wait until shit starts to get back to normal. It is going to be shittier than ever, and you might not have your normal green light hub to even go to help you out. So
It may be even worse than Gridwise support,
it might be, which is hard
which is hard to, yeah.
like imagine. But
Ain't that right, Jose? Ain't that right? Harder, worse than Gridwise support. And I'm the head of support at Gridwise, so I can say that. But anyways, guys, I want to welcome 8 people in the chat. Welcome to the live stream. We will be doing this weekly on Fridays at the same time from now until eternity. Ain't that right, Brandon?
until
Brandon's like, look, dude, I want to retire. I ain't trying to do this in my old age. But the reason why we started doing this is because we got a ton of feedback from all of our users, like you guys, wanting more content, wanting to see more Brandon. Actually, a lot of people are big fans of Brandon.
yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be?
Humble by design and nature, I see. But yeah, so we decided that, hey, look, let's give the people what the people want, and the people want more of us. And by us, I mean Brandon. So here we are. We're doing live stream versions of our newscasting, where we will talk about a bunch of different cool topics. Like today's topics are Uber and Lyft earning for those of you who are just tuning in, as well as here's a cool one. Gridwise J got his SBA loan. You might be wondering, well, Gridwise J, I thought you were employed at Gridwise. Yeah, I am, but I'm also an independent contractor that still drives. Why am I doing this? That drives Uber. I own my own business. Therefore, I qualified for small business loans. For the year 2019, I drove a shit ton of Uber, and I made a lot of income on Uber. Therefore, under the pandemic response, I'm eligible for SBA loans, and I got mine. Although it wasn't that much.
It's still something. That's still like really interesting that drivers can do that.
Exactly. So if you're a driver, that's proof and point. I literally got it, and I'm a part-time driver.
Yeah, I remember kind of first hearing about that and be like, no, drivers. There's no way drivers can get SBA loans.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem like something that makes sense. But apparently, not even apparently. Like yes, like
Yes,
drivers can get
I got it.
SBA loans. You can get PPP. You can get EID. You can get it all.
Well,
So
EID is run out. EID right now is only open for agriculture small businesses. Small businesses qualify you as under 500 employees and independent contractors and sole proprietors. Link in the comment section for those of you. Every time we bring up an interesting topic, or Brandon does, I will be posting in the comment in the chat a link to what we talking about. So first one we linked earnings for Uber, CNET. Second one, SBA link. Brandon, sorry for cutting you off.
no, it's fine. So I think it would be interesting to people kind of just like talk through what the process was for applying, and how long it took, and all the juicy details.
All the juicy details. So I'll tell you what, they require extensive documentation. And by extensive documentation, what I mean is your 2019 tax return. So your 1040, specifically your 1040 Schedule C. Jose Hueso, how about the pandemic unemployment assistance application? Any info? Good question, Jose. We were just going to bring that up. That varies state by state. Okay.
What state are you in, Jose? Let us know.
Yeah, if you're comfortable.
If you're comfortable. Yeah, the problem is every state is
Smack my mic.
incredibly unprepared for like any of these pandemic response items. All right, you're in Florida. I don't know off the top of my head where Florida is. Let's see.
Let me send Jose the actual link. If you haven't checked out our Gridwise blog, dude, we pump out 3 blogs a week about ridiculously important topics, such as how to collect on a PUA in your state. We literally listed out 50 states and how to do it. Let me find that right now for you. There's so many.
We're like literally just like looking for like what we have on this. Yeah, they are every state has a different system, and every single system was incredibly unprepared to take in 1099 workers, right? Because everyone has to apply through their state, and in a lot of states, you can get both the state unemployment and essentially the federal PUA unemployment benefits. But in some states like Georgia, you can't you're not going to qualify for the state, but you then have to be disqualified from the state, and then you can apply for the PUA.
Mm-hmm.
So then you are only eligible for the $600, but for a lot of states you can actually go ahead and stack that. So, but for Florida.
So I just sent the blog on one of 2 articles that we wrote about collecting PUA in the chat. So for those of you drivers, please click on that and take a look. And we'll look into Jose's case right here. Now, keep in mind, we are not tax professionals or qualified professionals to give you exact information, but we hope to point you in the right direction. So please do your due diligence when you take our word for this, okay?
But I am reading right now that drivers and 1099 workers in Florida can now go ahead and apply for the for PUA, which would give
$275 per week,
up to $275 per week for the state, and then an additional $600 per week for in terms of federal, which would be more of exactly like what the PUA is. So if you haven't applied, 100% go apply at this point if you're in Florida. In terms of approvals, I haven't actually seen much in terms of Florida drivers getting approved and actually starting to get payments.
They're still
I
rolling
don't
those out. They're
I
still
don't know
approving.
about that.
And for those of you who haven't applied, right now is a good time to apply. I know before, if you kind of rushed into it, some states would deny you unemployment because their systems couldn't classify you as being eligible to collect. Because as you guys know, being a contractor, you don't qualify for unemployment assistance. That was just a recent thing because of the CARES Act that allowed that to happen because companies pay into the unemployment insurance pool. Uber and Lyft don't pay the millions of dollars of unemployment tax because they want to save money. Therefore, that's why they fight tooth and nail to classify drivers as not employees but as contractors, as their own business owners for that reason and many more reasons. So in Florida, it's actually so yeah, basically get in line because there's a wave of people applying for unemployment, not just Uber drivers. Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong. It opened up to all independent contractors. That's like all freelancers. You can be like a
Florida, in Florida, yes. Like you have to check
yeah
our
yeah.
blog, check our blog because we also have kind of some state by state information in terms of hey, have people actually been getting approved? Have they been getting benefits? We have some insights there. So check out that blog that Junda listed. But yeah, it's completely state by state. So you just have to kind of check with your state and see what's going on there.
Exactly. So, Florida, go ahead and apply because it's not just Uber and Lyft drivers that are applying; it's everybody else that's unemployed, and it's also everybody that's also a sole proprietor, independent contractor, like
Yeah.
your neighborhood businesses that are doing it too.
Yeah. But also,
Freelancers.
yeah, but also definitely like the SBA loans are really interesting. And I know like drivers for the most part, I think get somewhere between like $500 and $600. But I mean, anything is great, and it's very easy to have. Uh, what's the word I'm thinking of? You can get the loan like
Forgiven.
forgiven. You can get it forgiven very easily. So I would definitely, and even if you didn't for some reason, like it's a 1%
It's free.
APR,
It's free money at that point.
so it's like very easy to do. So I would, if you haven't applied for the SBA loan and you're a driver, I definitely encourage you to go ahead and apply.
Go ahead and apply. Again, link is the second link that we posted in the chat. SBA, there's two parts to that. There's the Paycheck Protection Program, and then there's and that's essentially the loan, as I understand it. And then there's the emergency EIDL. But that, if you take a look at the website, is no longer accepting just any kind of business. It's actually only for agricultural small businesses. So, as an Uber driver, Lyft driver, or gig worker, unfortunately, we cannot apply to that at the time being. I'm assuming that's because there's a lack of funding because there's only so much money to pass around. Unfortunately, we as drivers, myself included, we missed out on the first round of funding, where some drivers got $1,000, and that is an advance. That's a grant, and that is 100% forgiven. It's not a loan. That's just money into your pockets.
Yeah, it's kind of it was just like man, it's just like with this whole everything kind of going on, everything was such a shit show, and it had to be. It would have been very difficult for it to not be a shit show
Mm-hmm.
because you needed to provide really kind of like an unprecedented safety net for so many people. I don't know if anyone ever looks at like the jobs reports and really just like look at kind of the graph of how many people just in a snap are unemployed. We're currently at almost, I think, 14.7%, almost 15% overall unemployment, which is so much more than even what we saw in 2008, and so fast that it's just like it was an unprecedented time. So of course you kind of had to have like some of these processes just be completely broken. So I get why it was such a shit show, but it was such a shit show, and a lot of drivers missed out on that initial SBA loan window because they just
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, and there was no way. There was no way to know.
No way to know. I didn't know. I didn't even think drivers qualified, and neither did
Yeah.
the
No.
American public. Like
Yeah.
neither the government people. Like the government. Like that's a whole new. The only reason why drivers classify was because of the CARES Act. They put a stipulation in there.
States didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
States had no idea what to do. That's why unemployment was so difficult because states had no idea what to do. SBA loan stuff,
Right.
it took a couple of weeks for people to really look in and understand the language. Says, oh, like independent contractors can apply for this.
Yeah, Jose with the 2 thumbs up. You guys rocks. Double exclamation mark. God bless you guys and thank you again, Jose. The thanks is all ours for you continuing to support Gridwise, our mission. Also joining us on today's live stream. So thank you very much, guys. If you have not hit that like button, make sure you smack that
Our
like button.
mission.
Also, if you're new here, have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the Gridwise Company channel. And I'm pretty sure all of us here that are watching are Gridwise users. I don't think we're large enough in viewership to have YouTube push out recommendations and suggested videos to new users who might not be Gridwise
Something in
users.
my eye. I have something in my eye, and I keep
Brandon's tearing up because of your kindness, Jose.
100%. What are we talking about next? What's the next
How
topic?
well we still have to finish the process of getting SBA paycheck protection program.
Oh my God! Can you hurry up, please?
Yeah, so basically what you do is you go to the SBA website, you find a lender. Okay, this is not administered by the SBA. It's you literally find like a local banking institution. For me, it was Citizens Bank, and be careful because my other bank around here called PNC, we're no longer accepting applications. So if one institution isn't accepting applications, it's not game over for you. Keep looking. There's so many different lenders out there that are qualified to provide you SBA paycheck protection loans. So I found Citizens Bank, the second largest in Pittsburgh, and oh my God, they're accepting applications. I hit the apply button, and you go through, and then you list yourself as an independent contractor, and then you calculate your 2019 net earnings, divide that by 12 to figure out your average monthly earnings for the year 2019, and then you multiply that value by 2.5 times, and that is how much you apply for as a loan. So for instance, if you made $12,000 in 2019 net, that's everything after expenses, not gross. Divide that by 12 gives you $1,000 a month, times that by 2.5, $2,500 is the loan that you will apply for. If that gets approved, that's how much you'll get. You need to submit your 2019 tax 1040s, especially 1040 Schedule C, which lists out your net earnings. So they do require legit documentation and evidence that you were. Also, we see that Ryan Green is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Ryan Green with the great insight, Brandon, and Gridwise Jay. As many of you who probably don't know, Ryan Green is the CEO of Gridwise in here right now. So if you want to air your grievances, if you want some shit talking you want to do about Brandon and Jay, you do it right now too.
That's honestly what I would suggest. Is like all of your grievances and
air your grievances.
anything that you just want to talk about. I mean, whether it has to do with the Gridwise or rideshare in general, I think you can just aim it squarely in his direction.
Yeah, aim it squarely at Ryan.
And
I come in peach.
You know,
You mean you come in peace?
yeah.
Good old peach.
All right, are we done with this like SBA loan?
We are done with the SBA, and the
All right,
next
what are we talking
topic,
about?
dude.
What are
The
we
next
talking about?
topic is: we did Uber earnings? Did we do Lyft earnings?
Lyft earnings were Jose says Ryan Green in the house. Lyft earnings were just as bad as Uber earnings. It's Lyft is in like a very it's interesting because Lyft and Uber, people kind of see them as essentially like a very similar company, but in this situation they're actually like really different because while Uber has like Uber Eats and they are a global company, Lyft does not have any sort of delivery really built in, and they are not a global company. A lot of people don't know that that Lyft is only in the U.S. actually. So a lot of times people want to, and investors like to say, okay, Uber is going up, so Lyft is going up. Not necessarily the case. Lyft had like an earnings report, which was not great because of COVID-19, essentially like being a lot of the reason. And but they also saw a similar uptick, though less than what you would see in Uber, what we saw from Uber in terms of, well, what was their bounce back from the bottom, right? So Lyft said that their bottom was the week of April 12th. That's when they had their low, and been seeing like some consistent increases in overall ridership. So from the low, which was they dropped. We see Zoom on your screen there, good IJ. They dropped 75% from the peak. They have on April 12th they were at 75% of their peak, so pretty much 25% of what they would have expected. They have increased from that 25% low of 25%, I should say. They have increased to 21% from that. So they're probably sitting at somewhere around like 30 to 31%
Mm-hmm.
of what they would expect to have. So they're seeing a bounce back as well. They're starting to see more rides become in demand, but they're still like 70% off the peak. But it is showing signs of coming back, especially in cities that have however you feel about it, rightfully or wrongfully, pretty much ease like some of their stay-at-home orders, like Texas and like Georgia. I don't think Lyft gave. Well, no, Lyft did give. Like in Georgia, rides have increased 25% week over week for the week ending in May 3rd. So they're up like 25%. So they're starting to grow. Same thing with Houston. They're up 29% over that same period. Where in New Orleans, which I don't even know if they opened back up or not, Louisiana, but they're open like 30. They're up like 39%. Seattle's up 25%.
Mm-hmm.
So rides are starting to come back. They're coming back slowly, but rides are starting to come back.
And I would like to add that I just received breaking news that Uber Dara Khosrow Shahi, did I say that right? Okay.
Oh, I have no
Dara
idea.
Khosrow Shahi is proposing that drivers should get health benefits based on how much they work and Uber would pay for it.
Which is a natural progression of the California AB5 issue, right?
Mm.
Where it's funny, like we had an article this week talking about the fact that California sued Uber, and it was an interesting conversation in the comments where a lot of drivers don't feel like they need to be independent, don't want to be independent contractors. And if that's how you feel, like I totally understand. Or a lot of drivers don't want to be employees, I should say. Which is, if that's how you feel, I totally understand that. But what you still need to understand, though, is that the California issue gives drivers so much leverage. Uber a year ago, before AB5, would have never dreamed of saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to give drivers unemployment." But now that there's a threat for AB5 in certainly in California, but across the country, now they're going to be forced to be in a they're going to be forced to be in a situation where they're saying, okay, we need to strike a deal so that everyone doesn't have to become full employees, but like there's some sort of middle ground here.
And
And that's
there
like the thing that people I feel like sometimes are missing in AB5 is that it's not, if you don't want to be an employee, okay, but still use this momentum as leverage to get yourself a better deal, and that's what's key.
it's 1,000% agree with you because at the end of the day, you're still getting shafted right now by Uber and Lyft both cutting your paycheck essentially. Driver earnings have been slashed from, let's say, what, 3.5 years ago. Driver earnings are down by almost half. So you're essentially you're working the same amount and you're earning less money for it. You're working double essentially. So as Brandon said, like even if you don't want to become an employee, take this momentum because big things are hard to move. They have inertia. If
Mm-hmm.
once the ball gets rolling, capitalize on that.
Yeah.
Fight for your other benefits, your other rights. I also want to bring up a really cool point. Not a cool point, but a really interesting fact that with the coronavirus pandemic and the government through the CARES Act allowing rideshare drivers from both Uber and Lyft to collect unemployment insurance, that kind of puts another angle of pressure, not just monetary pressure, so much in the sense of that, hey, you got to pay us back this money because you never paid into it, but pressure from a societal, like a society way, right? Now you can argue that, hey, look, in times of need, your drivers do need a safety net. You know,
Yeah.
look at coronavirus. Look at what we're dealing with right now. If there was no safety net, what would all these millions of drivers who do this full time do?
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
another argument from not just the government, but also from advocates of drivers becoming employees. That's another avenue. That's another wave of pressure from lobbyists, right? Of those specific agendas. Abrar, dude, welcome. He says, "Yo, Brandon and Gridwise J with the way we got honest Abrar in the house. Abrar, what's going on? Good to see you here."
Honest Abrar. Yeah, Jay. I mean, I think there's definitely going to be a lot of pressure from the government now in terms of,
And maybe even
hey,
society.
I mean, certainly society for sure. I mean, I think society's really every company is kind of having a little bit more of a spotlight shown on them, but Uber being really kind of like the evil empire in a lot of
Yeah,
ways,
yeah.
they're certainly gonna get a lot of heat around, hey, driver treatment just in general, and like how, hey, you know, the biggest most important thing for your drivers right now is how to get unemployment. Like that's like the biggest,
Yeah.
that's the biggest question all of your drivers have is how to get unemployment. So if that's like the fact, then yeah, you're gonna get some, you're gonna get some shit around the fact that you're not actually even paying for any of that. So it's gonna be interesting how Uber deals with the fact that, hey, not only are we facing kind of regulatory challenges from a California standpoint with AB5, but there's going to be kind of a groundswell of really federal and really the entire rest of the country saying, "Hey guys, you
Mm-hmm.
paid your drivers a ton of money, and you paid nothing into that."
Paid nothing.
I
Zilch.
don't. Yeah, I don't know any. I don't know if there's going to be anything retroactive that happens here, but kind of going forward, things are going to have to change a little bit. So,
And hopefully for the better. One other interesting tidbit that I wanted to bring up is that we have 11 people watching right now. 11 people watching. This is exponential growth, Brandon. Okay, last podcast that we did live, we had one person watching. All right, so we grew by 1,000%.
wow.
1,000%, guys.
If only Uber had that type of saw that type of growth.
This is what happens when you have Brandon and Jay on marketing. Things grow exponentially. Ain't that right, Abrar? You're a man of numbers, a man of science. Ain't that right? Exponential growth. We are like coronavirus, exponentially growing.
I don't know if that's a great
That's a
uh
horrible analogy. Disregard that.
analogy. Yeah, let's
Guys, make sure you hit
you're
that like
not like
button.
coronavirus.
I don't know if you paying attention, Brandon, on this, but we have 10 blue thumbs in the air, up in the ceiling, pointing in the up direction. That's awesome. 10 watching, 10 likes. That's what we're trying to shoot for. For those of you who don't understand, Brandon wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Okay, we have time for one more kind of topic here. What do we want to
Are
get
we
into?
are we running out of time? Man, time flies when you're having
Yep,
fun.
we have 5 minutes.
So Jose asked about survey winners about 30 minutes ago, and we just forgot to respond. But I tried to type something in the chat. Jose, we have not picked winners yet. Brandon, have we picked winners yet?
Uh, we have not picked winners yet. We have. I mean, we've gotten like a lot of the survey results back, which are
Mm-hmm.
which are really interesting.
Over 1,000 responded.
Yeah. Lots of drivers have gotten off the road. Like supply in terms of drivers is
Mm-hmm.
completely decreasing. Which, excuse me. A lot of like which means that drivers that are still on the road are actually making like a pretty decent amount of money. We've actually seen driver earnings increase over the past couple of weeks because, again, like you are seeing rider demand start to tick up,
Mm-hmm.
while you're also seeing driver supply not tick up at the same rate. So due to supply demand curves, blah
Mm-hmm.
blah blah, you're starting to see driver earnings actually tick up. You're starting to see trips per hour start to tick up. So that's like really interesting to see that happen. Part of the reason we could kind of get that insight was from the survey. So thank you, Jose, for filling out the survey. We will let drivers know about the couple winners. I think we have 2 or 3 winners coming in the next 3 or 4 days. So keep an eye out on your inbox, Jose.
Exactly. And one more thing for those of you who are sticking with us through thick and thin, watching us live, we will reward you with data insights. Okay. First of all, insider scoop here. One of the questions we threw in that survey was, if you could travel back in time to your first day, what would you tell yourself? Something along those lines. Like, if you could start rideshare all over again, what do you wish you would have known and done differently? And the number one response, over 20% of drivers responded with, I wish I had known more about vehicle maintenance, wear and tear, and the true cost associated with running my rideshare business. That I found was super interesting because I had the expectation that most of the responses, the most popular response would be that of, I wish I would have known how to X whatever strategy make more money. No, it's not. It's the simple thing of like operating a business, the hidden cost of it, the cost that Uber and Lyft don't really tell you about. Loving the insights from the surveys. Thanks, Abrar, dude. And Jose, you are getting the treatment today, my man. We have Brandon, we got Jay, we got CEO Ryan in the house. You can air all your grievances about Brandon to Ryan. And then we have Abrar. Jose, if you don't know, Abrar is our data scientist. So he's the one with all the data insights. So if you ever have questions, now's the time to ask about data, about anything, because you got 4 Gridwisers in the house right now. One more topic I know Brandon's itching to get to, in addition to the survey results, we have another result that we want to give you that's more data related and earnings related. And what is that, Brandon?
I don't know where you're going with this.
Instacart drivers are making more than Uber drivers, according to Gridwise data.
Yeah, they're making like a pretty decent amount more. I think we probably have a blog post going out on this like in 2 hours, maybe.
2 hours. Whoop whoop whoop.
But okay, all right. But yeah, Instacart drivers for, I don't want to say like the first time, but generally speaking, Instacart drivers, like the couriers, don't make as much as Uber drivers really in terms of like delivery in general. Usually, it has less overall earnings than rideshare, but we've seen that definitely inverse to a point where rideshare or Instacart and kind of shipped. Instacart and shipped drivers are starting to make more, considerably more. So you're talking about like $18, $19 an hour. We had a week not too long ago where Instacart drivers were making $20 an hour, right? This is of course before expenses, but also the thing with Instacart is you don't have nearly as much from an expense standpoint as you do with Uber, because your car isn't getting the same amount of wear and tear. You're not using the same amount of gas.
People ain't slamming your doors shut. Ain't that right, drivers?
Yeah. Wear and tear. So you're not getting that same amount of same level of issues there. So Instacart right now, if you can sign up for Instacart, definitely sign up for Instacart
and use our referral link. We have an affiliate link for Instacart.
Okay. All right.
If you do,
sure. You could,
or not.
I don't want to shame people into using our referral link.
It's not shaming. It's just mild prodding.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have a link for that actually?
We have it somewhere.
Here, check this out, guys. If you have not checked out the Gridwise website blog, everything that we talk about, data insights, secret reveals, our favorite form of entertainment, and our favorite flavor of coffee, all on the Gridwise blog. We got so many Gridwisers in the house. I'm keeping track of who came in today and commented. You're going to be put on the nice list, and everybody that hasn't is going to be on the naughty list.
Wow.
But guys, check
really
out our blog.
Gridwise Company podcast, really. That's what it is.
Well, I will have you know, we have 15 people watching right now. 15 people watching, only 13 likes on the live stream. Make sure you guys smack a like, that thumbs up button, because it helps the channel out tremendously. You will not.
I think we have 10, but I also think we're out of time.
We may be out of time, but we'll be back next week, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Friday from now until eternity. Like I said earlier, we'll be giving you the Gridwise Live special, where you can ask us all the questions you want, and we will try our best to answer them live on air.
Yep.
Jose, is there anything else you want to ask us before?
This is like the Jose show. Like we're specifically asking. Jose's like, no, you answered all my questions. Right?
Look, Jose, he's getting
Let the other people. Let
he's
the
getting
other people answer.
any other Gridwisers out there.
Ask questions.
Now's your chance. We're gonna wait 10 seconds. Brandon's itching. He's itching to get back to the grind. Robin Reiner downloaded your app, preparing to go back out and drive. Yeah, we just got an install, baby. Let's go, everybody! Round of claps in the chat for Robin. Let's get it. Here, I'll kick it off with an emote. How do you? They make it so difficult to find the clap button. I can't find it.
Thanks, Robin. Let us know how you enjoy the app. If you have any issues,
Here,
agenda's right there.
I got that one. UG, thank you for that. Ryan with the upside down smile. Robin, please, thank you so much for using Gridwise. If you have any questions or concerns, you could comment on our YouTube videos or send us a message. support@gridwise.io. Alex Egan with the wave. Everybody, thank you so much once again. This is Jay.
And Brandon.
You got to work on that, dude. We got to work on that outro. It's so
it's a little corny.
It is a little corny. But yeah, good live podcast. Everybody have a good day, and we will see you on the next one. That's it. Goodbye, everybody.